Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gaming with Blockchain. I'm your host, A. and we have a few things that we're just kind of condensed in today's episode. So it'll be more or less two episodes back to back. One outlining three different projects only simply because there's so much little things happening, most of it on the technical side, behind the scenes, and then there'll be another episode later on where hopefully I can attempt some stuff and show you what's going on in that space. So right now we're in Upland, and as you know, last week they had the launch for the first wave of Oakland opening, and this week they had went through all the troubleshooting, trying to smooth out all the glitches that players were experiencing, and still having some issues. They went through a stress test on Thursday to try to again force the system to figure out the maximum gameplay that's being hit on the network, and it uncovered other issues. So they're getting closer to the next wave, and this is something everyone's been itching on. They're like, okay, where can I buy this property? Some properties are being priced out of the market. You can see here there's a huge void. These are the next areas that are left to be unleashed or unreleased in hopefully in the next few days. But again, it's really about assuring that the user experience is as ideal as possible. And some benchmarks, or I should say some inherent factors that they've added, have been the inability to allow players that are, again, trying to bot the system, make abuses on the gameplay, removing those abilities throughout the network. So two-factor authentications being a little bit more restricted. A lot of CAPTCHA elements are being introduced, and this is across the board for the EOS and WAX gameplay. And this, we get it. It's kind of frustrating. Sometimes it just annoys the hell out of me. But at the same time, it's to deter all this bot activity. We want artificial intelligence, but at the same time, we're paying a price where people are becoming abusive. So you can see here throughout the map, there's still a lot of areas that are left to purchase and engage in. But at the moment, because of the mechanics of the game and because of the influx of new players, like the increase of players has jumped dramatically. The systems are now feeling the pinch of that network, that congestion factor. So they've slowed it down. They haven't announced the next release date for the wave 2, but I suspect it's coming around. And again, if players want to go and buy properties, there are the secondary markets if they really want to have something, or just if you qualify for FSA, there's something on the FSA market. You go through there and you can basically find something that suits your budget as well, or just wait. Patience is its own virtue, and sometimes you just have to sit back and allow the systems to kind of catch up to everything that's being released, and hopefully beyond that. Because remember, these is not about doing quick fixes in order for it to break down again, because you want to introduce new game mechanics and new features, and you want to have the system that's reliable. So that's all in the gameplay, and understandably why it's taken some time. But the other feature that's been great in the news for Upland is that the Upland cards. The cards now have been part of the staking ability for our planet. So if you're in our planet and you're playing our planet, you now have the ability to stake your cards. So if you have any assets that are Upland cards, you can bring them to our planet, assuming though you're not looking to make sets, and we'll get into all that later on. But you can see our Upland has been introduced. There's an amount of cards that have already been staked, and that value will eventually continue to grow. So again, like I said, these are just quick updates. There'll be more in depth, and again, I'll go back to separating the news once the features and the glitches have been addressed. But right now, it's just giving everybody that information and bringing everybody up to date to what's going on here. And some of it you already know, but I'm just bringing you to the audience that's been following, and thank you for doing so. We'll just continue on from here. So now we're going to get to AlienWorlds. AlienWorlds, as you know, has been part of the Binance ecosystem. They've launched there for about 2 weeks ago. Um, we're on the verge of getting the votes in to go through governance, and I would like to do that. But again, with all the experiences of all the glitches, that voting experience is not available right now. And I'm just bringing it to forum. This is about the growth, and sometimes these challenges help solidify why the games are successful, why there's an attraction. It's about that value. People are seeing something in it, and they're trying to find ways in which to on board and jump on board to play this game and to be involved with this game. So in doing so, the co-founder of the game, Michael Yates, had did a interview with Uplift, and again, this is all about, as I said, all these interactive gaming communities, all these other communities, art communities within the EOS and WAX system collaborating together. Now, again, I don't know where that's been seen before, where that has been part of any other network. I'm just going to go to the Binance site for now. Um, and we'll see if we can look at something at Cetilium. And we're going to take a look at what's going on there with their launch pool. And you can see how much they've been put to stake. And we'll look at the market. So crypto.com, I should say Binance itself. And my state comment really is about the fact that these are all these projects that are collaborating together, showing community growth together, involved in the ability of these directives to move forward, and they're doing it in a cohesive manner. So I'll put in the show links right now. Here's Michael Yates with Corey Cartrell and Jimmy D, and they're all talking about AlienWorlds. And if I'll do a quick skim through, and you'll see the universe of AlienWorlds in Uplift. So if I could find a quick scan so that you can just imagine what's going on in these two environments, and that's unheard of, right? I mean, I don't know how many places in the gaming community where all these assets are interchangeable and all these members of the communities are talking to each other and they're collaborating together. And this is something I think if you're a player and beyond just a bystander, I would recommend, watch this video, watch all the other Uplift videos, pay attention to the communities, and you'll see there's a lot of interactivity between the groups, which then is just growing a larger community base overall. There's just so much going on, and I definitely recommend watching this video because Michael has pointed out many key features, which is about building a framework, establishing the right mechanics and mechanisms, and it's beyond just a game. It's like the simulated economy. I can't say it any better. You're establishing four different things, which is value, community, organization, and at the same time, a collaboration. Part of that is all about DAO, which is what we had mentioned here in the previous main stage of AlienWorlds development. And if you don't know much about DAOs or DACs, again, I suggest that you go and research this information. Take a look. This is what's been staked to date to the launch pool in Binance. So $687,000 so far. Now, there's 2.5 weeks because there's a 30-day farming before the rewards would be released. That's in 12 and X days, and you'll see what will happen from there if you have been staking your BNB to that program or to that launch pool. One thing I do want to emphasize as well is because of this factor, there's a lot of malicious copycats that are trying to take advantage of this growth factor and growth regime. So do your own diligence. Make sure you're at the appropriate site, which is this icon here. That you are definitely where you should be, which is this site here. You're not on anything else. They're only on Binance. They're only with Ethereum. The contracts are very clear. Do not risk quick gains and false promises for something that's untrue. Okay, so I'll put this definitely in the show notes. It's something worth watching. I highly recommend it. It's just great forward thinking, and if you're into building structures or building communities and having ideas of where to move forward, definitely you want to move into this realm as well. From Upland, like I said, from Upland to AlienWorlds, and now Uplift and Crown will be moving on there. So right now we're in Crown, and what's going on in Crown? So Crown this week had, or for the last couple of weeks, have been announcing that they'll be releasing a probe. The probe, as mentioned in many articles that they issued, if you're a landowner in the community cluster, so we're not landom, which is a survival mode, we're in the community cluster, and you own land, the pros will now allow you the chance to have first dibs in choosing what particular area you want to be in. Okay. Now the key thing with doing so was that you had to have certain features of assets in your wallet. So what was announced was that if you're staking anything in our planet, make sure you unstake it by this date, because they're going to take a snapshot of your wallet and then determine by end of Friday, which was yesterday. So I haven't checked anything. I may not, unlikely have a probe. But if you did have a probe and you received a probe, you now have a chance to, within when that launch date happens, and if depending on your rank number, so if you're the first person or the 10th person or the 200th person, be able to select where your land plot will be. So it will be one probe for one land plot, not one probe in all your land plots. So if you have 3 land plots but you only have one probe, it's not 3 to 1, it's only 1 to 1. So that was one of the things that has been released, which meant a lot of people had to unstake their assets from our planet and wait for the snapshot to happen, which was earlier this week, and then when they were ready, you can restake. And unfortunately, I was one of the ones who haven't restaked, and I'll get to that in a moment. It's just like, oh, genius me. I unstaked but completely forgot to restake. But you can see, if all goes well, you now have a chance as a landowner to select a particular spot on this grid, depending on where your number is, and say, okay, I want to put my land here. I want to choose this particular space. So Crownlandia has already their space. They're moving forward with it. They've had association with AlienWorlds. There's a lot of great different projects going on. As you can see, this is more or less the updated framework as it stands recently. So I'm going to take a look at my wallet. Do I have anything in my wallet? Right now, you can see we're on the Atomic Hub. I'm looking at the Uplift.World 2 collection, and you can see where the price tags have just jumped through the roof in terms of value and cost. These were not that price point before, and they definitely are now. So if you want land plots, you can buy three land plots. If you were looking 1 land plot for 800, I don't know if I would buy 1 if I could get 3 rail keys. You got to make sure that you're getting the assets as according to what they are. Some stuff has been falsified, so just be careful. But these are now on the market, so if you're looking for any particular asset for Uplift.World, these are the places where you can find these on the secondary market, and and then hopefully have your chance to the probe release or probe action that will give you or grant you the rank number to select a location that you would want to go to. Right now, I'm going to now find out, do I have a probe? What are the odds? Unlikely. I'm not that kind of person that would have that. Not because I wouldn't want one, is because, again, I'm doing as much as I can to help the community, and then again inform you as an audience of what potentially is there, which means I'm probably putting in a little bit here and there, on top of a regular job and work that I do. So I'm just trying to be the engagement factor, the catalyst to say, okay, you guys, you the audience, women, educators, and everything else, you take a look at this environment, see that this is a lot more potential than what you see, what's visibly on the surface, and dive in. Take a moment to dive in. So let's take a look and see, what do I have here? Do I have a probe? No, I do not have a probe. So I don't have to worry about the um, land selection because I don't have the probe that was sent out or issued out, I believe, as of yesterday. I have to confirm that, but from what I understand, the probes were released yesterday evening, which was Friday evening, the 23rd. I don't have a probe. So I can easily go back and restake these, which I haven't done, and I had time to do that, and I didn't. So I'm going to be doing that. And on our next episode, I'm going to transfer over, and we're going to wrap this up now. And I hope that you're, like I said, I know this has been very light and very quick, but I'm just trying to make sure you're staying up to date on the information that's available and understanding the experience that is moving forward with this great projects that are being developed here on EOS and WAX. And there's more coming down the line. But in the meantime, right now, I do know there's a lot of the mini little glitches on the technical side that the teams are really, working hard to address. And so I don't want to be diving in too much until we know for sure what those outcomes will entail. So until next time, thank you for following. Thank you for your support and your feedback, and hope to see you guys relatively soon. And stay tuned for the next episode. Take care.